Hello guys, this is Trade once more. So this is the Nasdaq. This is the monthly chart here. This is a monthly chart, but then I'm gonna just switch to the weekly. So this is the weekly time frame. If I move this, put it there, you can see that. Let me just close that up. This suspension block here, you see, volume imbalance down there and volume imbalance up here. So it's a suspension block. So we're gonna use that as a reference too. So this here marked this week. This candlestick, it's weak from here to there. I marked it, created it, and then I created this one here. I created it here. And we grade the wick that is the longest in the vicinity, right? In the close vicinity. Right? So basically what we see here is that uh here in the first month of February, we tried to go up. We failed. Here on another month of February, we tried to go up, but we stopped here on this volume imbalance here in orange. And then here, once again, we try to go up, but we can't even go anywhere near here. That's weakness. And here, if I zoom in with this candlestick here, it goes up, touches the volume imbalance here, this one here, touches it and falls and closes right there, right? That is weakness too. So because of now we are in the March, April, May quarterly shift, which can start from February. So because we're in that, we're just gonna ignore all the buys, right? And take all the sells. So basically here, we no longer see, all we see is sell side, right? No longer see buy side, right? Even here, this is sell side. Sell side. So just seeing all sell side because of the quarterly shift, right? As though sell side, just anticipating bearishness here on the Nasdaq. And then also cementing that idea of bearishness. Let me do this so that you can see a bit. I'm just gonna move this in there like that. Then we're gonna zoom. Can you see that this candlestick here went above half of this suspension block, but couldn't close in the upper half, closed outside of the suspension block, outside of it. The open here closed inside the suspension block, but then in the lower quadrant of it. The next candlestick went up into the upper quadrant of it, above half of the suspension block, but it can't even close there. It closes here. That's weakness, right? So we'd like to see the suspension block keep uh, price just stay here in the lower quadrant and go lower, right? This has proven us to us that it's weak, but just doing that and closing there is proven us to us that it's weak, right? Respecting this array here, volume imbalance here, also respecting the upper quadrant of the suspension block there, right? So we see that this thing is bearish, does not want to go up. So we're just gonna look for sells, right? We're just bearish for the week. Yes, we're just gonna look to sell, right? This is that weekly suspension block, this one. If I move it a bit, we can zoom in here. You see that weekly suspension block is being respected right here. That's very beautiful. It's being respected here, and then market shuts down like that, right? So on Friday, here we had this fair value gap from last week or that week before, might be the week before. But in any case, last week it was used here. Then we went above it, right? We went above it, went above it. Now we're here, right here on this fair value gap, which is like from there, right? So we'd like to see Because in this leg here, you don't have any open fair value gaps, right? So we like to see the first value gap that forms here to be a runaway gap, basically. A gap that we want to return into it, or rather a breakaway. But it should be a fair value gap that's going to remain open, basically. Right? Then we'd like to see what? The sell side here taken, sell side here taken, sell side taken here, sell side taken here, relatively quite lows here, nice liquidity resting below there. Eventually, even here, there's some nice liquidity. You can see that this is some nice liquidity here. And then here is we have a high probability fair value gap here. Let me just go in there. Where is it? The fair value gap. There we go. Let me zoom in. As you can see, this is the fair value gap here. I'm gonna make it yellow. Yeah, this is a high probability fair value gap here. Yes. Let's just mark it high probability fair value gap here. High probability FVG. Why are we doing that? It's because of this fair value gap here, marking this candlestick's high there, this one, and then the low of this candlestick there. It only has a wick into it. So it's a fair value gap with sell side, right, resting there. So basically it's a high probability fair value gap. So we need bodies, actual bodies like this in this fair value gap here. So the question is below this low, these lows here. Let me just do this. Below these lows here and this lows here, how far can it go? Exactly here. Right? Exactly there. So we're just gonna anticipate a lot of selling, bearish on the NASDAQ. We bearish from the point that we are actually in right now, from the very position that we are in here. So we are bearish from right there. We're bearish here. We're bearish on the NASDAQ. So just look for yourselves on the NASDAQ. And again, this is not financial advice. Just trade with care and make lots of money. So yeah, this is the NASDAQ, guys. Bearish on the NASDAQ. We bearish on the USDT, which I'm gonna throw a video on it. You're gonna see that video. And then I've already thrown 2 videos on the S&P 500 and showing the quarterly shift. So it's just bearish, 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 bearish. So thank you, guys. Let's look for ourselves.